Hello and welcome to the Positive Portugal podcast. My name's Julian Marcus, your host, and today in this episode, I'll be with Vanda Pereira. This episode of the Portugal Positive podcast I've entitled Dare to Dream, as I feel our guest today does just that. She's the author of 3 books and writing a 4th, and in this issue of the podcast, you'll get to learn more about her work, her School of the Heart, and this week's project of hers to give some of the proceeds of one of her books to the planting of trees in Luso region, Busaco, central Portugal. So I'll be meeting with her on Saturday, the 27th of January, to plant some trees together. So very much looking forward to that. And if you're inspired, please check the links to inscribe and find out more about positive projects that she's involved with on her website, which will also be linked here. So I hope you enjoy. We'll be talking about dreams. We'll be talking about life in Portugal, having inspiration from overseas throughout her life, and her takeaways from this journey into spirituality, lucid dreaming, and the yoga of dream work, as well as her other projects and messages for a positive 2024. So, real lives, good vibes. That's the brief here. We'll be interviewing different people who are Portuguese or living in and contributing positively to the life of others passionate about Portugal. Thank you for listening. And now I'll set a live stream to Facebook here. So, Pereira is P-E-R-I-E-R-A, yeah?
P-E-R-E-I-R-A.
P-E-R-E...
I-R-A.
I got the I-E the wrong way around. Okay. And I'm going to now get because you sent me the URL of the Curaçao project. I'm going to copy paste it.
I'm going to send you through WhatsApp.
Okay, WhatsApp. Okay.
I was just updating it today.
Cool.
With testimonies. I received fantastic testimonies.
Dream Away.
That's just the dream project.
Okay.
I've just sent you the general one.
Okay, so I'm going to share it to a group, and it's the Positive Portugal podcast. So, are you ready, Vanda?
I am.
Beautiful. Take a big breath.
Yeah, I can connect with the heart.
So when I click go live, it's a couple of seconds and then it will be live. So we're not quite live yet, but I'm going to go click now.
What it's interesting is we're recording before, so it's good for our consciousness that we keep the energy.
So I'm clicking go live.
Okay, so yes, I have meeting is being transmitted now on Facebook.
Olá, boa tarde, bem-vindo. We're not going to do it in Portuguese today, but welcome to the Portugal Positive Podcast. I'm here with Vanda Pereira, my friend for 7 or so years, I think. We've known each other.
At least.
And I'm going to invite Vanda back because she's born and speaks fluent Portuguese to the podcast to do this again, all over again, in Portuguese with my colleague Ines. But today we're speaking in English because you have very good English. And we're going to talk about the influences from the world, America being one of them, England and the English language. Vanda's an author an inspiring woman and friend in my life, and she's written 3 books, and she's the founder of Escola de Coração. The website is escoladecoração.pt, and we'll put it in the notes next to this broadcast so that you can check out her books and projects of this School of the Heart for those that are learning Portuguese. Escola de Coração, Coração, Heart, Escola, School. And we've got some exciting news for you in this podcast of something that we're hatching together. And tomorrow I might be with Vanda, which is total synchronicity, planting trees maybe in the region of near Aveiro and Luso.
Luso, it will be Saturday, not tomorrow.
Gosh, Saturday. I'm getting too excited.
I got excited because you didn't say yes yet. No.
I rock up there tomorrow and there's nobody there. I'm there with my spade trying to plant trees. So the proceeds of one of Vanda's books, she's put to this tree planting project, which is on Saturday. If people wanted to join that, if they see this today, how could they join? Is that on your website?
It's on the link I sent you. You can also
I'll share the link after the call
Thank
if
you
you're
so
inspired.
much.
It's in Busaku.
Yeah.
Yeah. And where the beautiful water comes from, Luso.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. One of the most purest waters in Portugal and distributed to the whole country.
An amazing palace there. I've seen the palace.
An amazing nature.
Yeah.
Surrounding the palace. It's total magic.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. If you've never heard of it, we'll put a link to that too. The photos, even on Google Maps, are stunning. I was looking at them this morning when I looked at the inscription form. So we're here to celebrate what Vanda brings and celebrates about Portugal in a positive way. And this podcast is all about creating community and celebrating the wonderful people and things that are happening within Portugal. So it's a pleasure to have you here, Vanda, today.
It's a pleasure to be here and to receive your invitation. And it's amazing how life just creates these connections. We don't speak that much, but when it's needed, we are connecting heart to heart, and it's just so delightful. Thank you, Julian. And thank you for this positive podcast. It's really wonderful.
Awesome. One of the other speakers I've had or guests is Pete Bampton, and his statement about what he finds most positive about Portugal and their people is this heart, the Portuguese heart, which he mentions in his recording as being extremely pure and trusting. And there's an innocence in the Portuguese creativity of their heart that he hasn't found anywhere else in the world, apart from India. So he says in his podcast, Portugal is halfway to India. So it's on the edge of Europe, but it has a very interesting heart energy in the people. So like you say, we don't speak that much, but when we need to, and there's something important to create, we align, you and I, as friends. And I would say that his experience is also mine of some Portuguese people, or many. And we met through photography. I did some branding photography for Vanda about 7 or so years ago, and we've stayed in touch on other meaningful projects and things that we both are passionate about. And when I designed this podcast, I had you on my list to get back in touch with and invite. So we could move on to some of the positive things that you're involved in. I've mentioned the Escola de Coração. Vanda and I also share a childhood similarity that we both lucid dreamt as children, didn't we?
Yeah.
Would you say something about how that experience as a child growing up led to you creating and working with lucid dream work now, and something about what you're doing now with it, how people could learn more, and what's that like now, and where do you offer it?
Okay, so it's a really good point to start, because we all dream lucid as children. It's part of our development. And the strongest one that I remember was that I felt I was the universe. I could literally feel the universe was inside of me. I would start counting And I had this perception already with 7 years or so that there was no ending. I would start, and I was really fast because I have a really fast mind. And there was this understanding. And this was very lucid. It's not what I call lucid dreaming now, but this was the strongest one, the deepest memory that I have about my dream capacities and my journey as a spiritual being consciously. So that was the strongest lucid experience in my dream
Mm.
realm. And life has brought me in the end of 2022 to dream lucid again, but then it was super lucid. I learned with several teachers, and my first one, Charlie Morley, he's amazing. He has healed hundreds of veterans of the war that had recurrent nightmares. And with lucid dreaming, with the steps, he is amazing. And I learned it all with him and other masters. And with this technique, you can heal traumas, deep traumas. And I would say that is the greatest benefit of lucid dreaming. Besides, of course, this realizing how universal we are, because there are some lucid dreams that when I wake up, I really feel, whoa, there is God inside of me. It's such a thrilling energy. It's so crystalline, innocent, as you were saying. That's why children lucid dream, because somehow they are also learning about the nature of reality. And that is also one of the purpose in the Buddhist Tibetan tradition. That is the greatest goal of lucid dreaming, is to study the nature of reality, what is real. And indeed, it's something I feel all human beings should learn, that anyway, we are on a path. And if I have learned something in the last years, is that we need to honor each step and to enjoy. So it's a long road, but I'm here to provide this
Cool.
type of knowledge that thousands of years ago, only the yogis would train this. And it is considered in several traditions to be a superpower that we all have.
Mm.
So and again, we need to honor our rhythm. And yes, I have honored mine, which is really fast, and everything happened. And in 2023, I was already teaching because I was truly in love with it. It was just infusing energy and then synchronicities all around. And this kind of work also creates that, because you open doors inside of your consciousness, and then you suddenly see things that you didn't see before. And
Mm.
it's magic.
Mm. Wonderful. So did you say trust every step, find your own rhythm, and enjoy?
Yes.
So it can be nice in this podcast to collect the lived experience of bringing more positivity to life and the ways in which to do that. So I hear there honoring people's rhythm, that for you it was very fast, for other people exploring anything that they're passionate about. It might be slow, or I often see that it's spirals and cyclical, that we deepen into something and something comes back and we go deeper. So that's beautiful. And now the advanced dream yoga practice, what's that? And do you teach that online? Is that a retreat? I heard you mention it to me, advanced dream yoga. So is that what you now do after these trainings and experiences with lucid dreaming?
Yes, it's what I dedicated myself to teach. It can be online. It has some presential, in-person possibility also. And I also have one retreat for this year. The first edition happened last year. And there is a higher advanced part of it, which is the passage to death. But that is so sensitive, especially here in the Portuguese culture, that one I'm taking it very, very slowly, so that I honor also other traditions and that kind of perspective. The main thing here is that once you start lucid dreaming in adulthood, And with support and in a group, something inside of you shifts. And according to the ancient tradition, it means that if you are conscious in a dream that you are dreaming, and if you have the ability to command it, to guide it, you can also do that when you do your passage to death.
Mm.
It's incredible.
Mm. Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. And we talked also about two other branches of this. So there's the three books. Maybe you mention them now, but we're probably going to invite you back to do a podcast on each of them. One is about lucid dreaming. So for those...
That one is not published. It's my
that's not published.
and I'm still writing it.
Okay, great. So the three that are published, could you give their names and say where people might be able to find them?
Okay, so the first one is Messages from the Heart. And the three books, you can find them on Fnac, Wook, and Bertrand. So the main bookstores, you can find them there. If they are not physically in the bookstore, you can order it. But nowadays, you can order online. So the first one is very simple. I felt the calling to write the book. I was living in Sintra at that time, and it's very simple. I was kidding once with one of my teachers, or my Amar, that you know, and I was saying to her, I don't know if it was me writing the book or channeling the trees, because I was really in nature at that time. First, yeah, the inspiration mainly came from nature. So it's very raw material. It's very directive because my energy was very directive at that time. And people like it very much. It has my early drawings. I started drawing around 2005, more or less, when I started my shamanic path. And it's been a huge evolution. And it's a record of my earliest drawings. And they are very simple, but I remember there are many drawings there that were a shift in my awareness. There are little details there that tell a lot about life, and that spiral you were talking about, it's very much in flowers, as you know, and all over. So it was an awakening, and that energy is there. That's the first one.
Beautiful.
And the second one, when I wrote the first one, a close friend, she said, she's also on the shamanic path, she's very direct. And she said, Vanda, when are you writing a real book? And the Aries in me of competition said, okay, this is a good challenge. I almost died. Well, I died several times innerly of transformation. It was a deep process, because people who write books know editing a book is one of the most challenging parts of it. And I survived. And at the same time, it was like a portal. Now it's a structure that I have that helps me, of course, always evolving, but it was a dying process. And it's my most academic work. And it's about intuition. And I intuition deserved this kind of dedication and devotion. It took me 4 years to write it.
And what's it called?
Poder intuitive power.
And is it available in English also? And the first one, are they both Portuguese, these books?
All of them are Portuguese. Intuitive power, since last year, the end of last year, it's available in English.
Okay, cool.
If someone wants to read it, it was a friend from the USA who translated it.
Awesome.
Yes. So, and the third one, it's about relationships. The title is Dream Relationships That Come True. At that time, Julian and everyone who is listening, I had no idea that I would be working with dreams so intensively as I am now.
Wow.
But life is so beautiful that it just happened naturally. So indeed, dream relationships became true in my life. And the book is about the relationship with myself, with ourselves, with others, and with nature and the universe.
Beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
And it was an intense ride. I had a partner at that time who worked with me. We co-created the workshops and some retreats. Luis Trindade, you know him also, I think.
What's his name?
Luis Trindade, Luis Miguel Trindade.
Maybe.
So we did some work together, but the book project, I always felt it was my responsibility. So it was,
Mm,
but he wrote the introduction and he really was a wonderful support. And it made all sense because it was about relationships. So having a friend by my side made
mm,
it all real and concrete.
yeah.
And it was quite a ride.
Yeah.
Also the book is very has very clear distinction. I was commenting with you that it's a book that it will manifest perhaps more and more in 10, 20 years, but I decided to write it anyway because
Mm,
it has distinctions that some people don't even want to hear about it at the moment.
mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
fine.
Cool. And do you
Yes.
feel to there was this other dimension of I often see that Portuguese value things that have been imported and brought from overseas. So I've witnessed that as a workshop facilitator, as a photographer and videographer, that I see, and I'm English. So there's the long-standing um, treaty or the friendship between Portugal and England that is quite famous. Um, and and so I felt really welcomed at times with different skills that I have for being an outsider. And you shared with me that as a Portuguese woman, you take a lot of inspiration from abroad and sometimes feel a little out of context in your own country, and that the community that understand and speak your language are often overseas or in America or so would you say that how would you say your relationship is with sharing these books primarily in Portuguese and staying and living and working here whilst having this antenna out? Because I think this is also common through history for Portuguese people. And I'm wondering in this living, breathing Vanda, how you find the balance between contributing and being in this Portuguese society in 2024 that we're now in, and having these antennae really prickling and intently um, enjoying influences from outside and the community and the people that and the shared language you mentioned. How are you managing that, and how is that to be with both those two dimensions?
Okay, so I will tell you a story so that, and then perhaps I will comment about the story, but I think the story, well, at least from my perspective, because I'm there, it will be clear. But yeah, then I will elaborate. I was in Sintra and with horses, you know that there are wild horses there in a project to prevent fires to happen there because they are always eating and they maintain the ground and it's just beautiful. And
Mm,
I've been several times. In one of the approaches with one of them, I mean, they are wild. And the horse came to me as if he was a puppy. You see? So I was totally afraid. And my first thought was, oh, I'm so little. And then I was crying because I was touched. I felt little with that big wild horse wanting to play with me. And then I went at a distance. And then I could breathe and come back to me. And I was giving all the signs for him not to come. And he respected that. And at a distance, then I realized something that I'm not little, that I'm actually very big. I'm so big that at the distance, I can connect with him.
mm,
And this is how I feel good at the moment. And this is also how I feel with the connection with the networking that I do with the world. Something that really nurtures me because it's people who talk my language. It doesn't mean that they don't exist here in Portugal, but it's different, such as speaking about lucid dreaming. And that's also one of the reasons why I'm enjoying so much to connecting with you, because perhaps we together we can naturally find some lucid dreamers who want to speak. But as the first impact, the first need of the heart to speak with someone about this, I took what I found, and I found it broad. I didn't find it here, something already done. So the connection with the world shows us how big we are, because I have friends that I telepathically I connect with them in dreams and in daytime, and they are in the United States, and that is amazing. And that is also part of what I'm learning at the moment, to be very concrete and to make the invisible visible. And I do that a lot through writing. I'm a natural writer. It's how I clear myself. It's how I trust my intuition. It's like it's here.
Yeah.
It's my imagination. And of course, writing also puts the focus needed. That's why I'm writing the fourth book in this theme, which will be the deepest of my books, because it touches several themes that are really I wanted to speak about it for a longer time, but I didn't have the context that I have now. And now I feel confident, and I'm very happy to have reached this point of writing this fourth book with an open.
Super cool. You've touched on some things there which spark in me a number of passions and realizations I've had. The work of the author Philip Shepherd, he wrote the book, a few books, but Radical Wholeness, and he talks about some cultures having a radical indeterminacy of self. So the idea that we are bigger than our skin boundary. And in that book, he talks about where does the self end? Well, it doesn't, it extends beyond and to that which we have influence over, because if we're creating influence and it's from us, then it's part of ourself. So living in Portugal, as I have for 12 years, and my network is worldwide also, with practitioners and people that I speak to on a regular basis and collaborate with. And during the pandemic years, I realized that if I could never leave Portugal again, it's okay. I thought we have such a diversity of landscapes. I'd really come to peace with being an outsider, but no, Portugal's now my home. And if I can never leave again, if the borders never open, I was okay with that. And during that period, I worked with a number of people in this kind of telepathic somatic way. So I would even work with people and ask them, what are they noticing in their body right now, and tune in and see what echoes of that. And there's an author, which his name, Rupert Sheldrake, wrote about the morphogenetic fields of animals and how they know when their owner is coming home. And on my old platform, eHealth Learning, we had him talk about this, and another one on near-death experiences. Anyway, all of those things are very interesting. But I'm with you on the fact that you can feel people you've never met even. So it was an experimental period of online education with the body during that period. And I did some interviews with different people who work with dreams and come to Portugal. And I was only vaguely aware or not aware of your work. So it's so great that we're speaking about it now. And I just wanted to mention, during that period as well, I was exploring a modality called body poem, and I've shared this with you. And for me, having had experiences as a child, this is a way to work with the waking consciousness, but to bring the implicit, the hidden, to the visible of the explicit, where we can write it down. We can say, oh, this is to do with that. I definitely remember that. And that's also the work of a writer, I can see now. I'm 41 years old. I had dyslexia. I struggled to write. And now I find it much easier to write because we've all heard this popularized word of embodiment, in Portuguese, incarnato, and it's in Italian, it's the same, to come into the flesh. And I really think the supportive modalities like lucid dreaming, like body poem, which is working with the dreamer and the dream scribe. You're not called the practitioner and the client and the therapist. It's deeply therapeutic, but it's not defined as therapy. So people are coming into it with curiosity, with wonderment, with surrender into the mystery. And like you've said, miracles and synchronicities can pop up all around you in a very non-linear and very beautiful way. So I share that excitement with you completely. Yeah.
And when you speak about incarnating, you touch another part of advanced dream yoga, which is astral projection. Because what I speak for myself, my biggest challenge in astral projection is the coming back to the body.
Right. Yeah.
So it's incarnating.
Yeah.
And also the practice, the practice of astral projection or an out of body experience. First, you need to feel the body and the energetic body.
Yeah.
So that then you know when you come, okay, this is the energetic body coming back to the physical body. Okay, now I know this.
Yeah, really important. Yeah.
It's incarnation. And when you are truly incarnated and aware of that, you can go out and then come back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we in the work that I share, we have this term mapping. And I got very excited 2015, 16. And so learning, mapping is to have a physical lived experience of something which we may have just relied upon the idea of. So the idea of my arm is very different from squeezing my arm and feeling what it feels like. And again, just to go back to that author, Philip Shepherd, I did a workshop with him in Ireland, and he woke up my felt sense to the degree that I hadn't seen all the lakes around me because they were hidden by mountains. And I'd never been to this region of Ireland. I flew in there, I did his workshop, and in my sleep, I started to become aware of the sensation of rain falling on the roof of the cottage I was sleeping in. And not only that, so that woke me into lucid dreaming state. And then I felt very expanded and I could feel the cold wet of these massive lakes around. It was, I've forgotten which part of Ireland, but it's like the Lake District of Ireland. And in the next day's workshop day, I went in and I said, are there lakes over these hills around here? And they're like, yeah, loads of them, like everywhere. You haven't seen them, but they're over the hills. And he also did an exercise where we had to drop an item and then feel that you've dropped it, but you're still connected to it. So we all threw pens on the ground, and then you feel and you pick it up without looking. And you know, Vanda, I lost my key to that cottage. And I said to the workshop, I said, let me see if I can find it through my felt sense. So after the workshop, I drove back. The lights were out, so the people weren't home to let me in. I thought, whoa. So I drove in, I reversed into the parking space, and I opened the door, and I relaxed with gravity down to the ground, effortless. My hand landed on the key to the cottage. And I was like, oh my God, I'd had those dreams. I felt the lakes. They were there. I hadn't even seen them. And then I found my key. So when I tell that story, I'm like, that was really an awakening into how we can feel beyond the physical body. And it blew me away. And now in my work with Body Poem, I teach that. It was founded by my friend who moved to Portugal. She's in Africa at the moment. She was born in Africa, Katie Sara, and she lives near Figueira de Vinhos. And she runs retreats in Portugal as well. So somehow, you, me, her, and others really bringing a richness of dream, implicit and explicit memory understanding in a way here in Portugal. So it's very exciting to to talk about this on this podcast.
Yes, there is also a fascinating part of registering your dreams and doing dream work. In my case, and I believe, and I've seen other people also, you have premonitory dreams many times, much more than I thought before writing, even though I write my dreams since 2003. And there is one author, Francisco Varela. He worked with the Dalai Lama, and with studying scientifically spirituality. And he also talked about premonitory dreams and the story of the Dalai Lama, that one way of them being able to find the path when China was inside Tibet was through their dream yoga practice.
Wow.
Because they could see the path before, and when they were there, they knew the way because they had dreamed about it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and these are only little stories. There are so many stories in this area that are really mind-blowing and heart-opening and consciousness shifting. I got totally passionate about this. And I felt the calling since the beginning. Since I had my first super lucid dream, which means that you are in the dream, you are conscious, you are dreaming, and you direct it. And it happens exactly as you say, in the way that of course, it's not your ego, because there are already some people doing lucid dreaming experiments that try to control things. No, it's the connection. What my work is the connection with the soul and with the higher self. And it happens because I'm aligned. What I want is also what life wants from me. So it's fascinating.
Yeah. There's so much resonance there. We could do another podcast on lucid dreaming and dream because we do a practice in Body Poem, which is called the I want list. And I don't know in Portugal, you can tell me, but in English culture, for many generations, children are taught, I want never gets. So, and then if you look at the Secret, the book, The Secret and the film, there's this knowledge, you could say spiritual knowledge, that the affirmation of wanting is the affirmation of lack. So if I say, I, Julian, want a new car, for example, you're telling the mirror of the universe that I'm someone who's experiencing the wanting of a car, and you continue to experience the wanting of the car. But as you just mentioned, when what you want is what life wants for you, there's a certain alignment. And when we listen to our wants with like free associative writing, or we get into a altered state and we speak them to the dream scribe, we can hear them. Some of those wants might not really be our wants. They're just things we thought we wanted or our family wanted for us that we are now living someone else's wants. And then they don't hold what I would call a somatic charge or power. And we're like, no, actually, I don't want that. But so cross that one out. So it's really nice to, again, bring from the implicit into the explicit, or from the subconscious mind, which you could say is the body, up into the conscious register of being able to speak about it and see it. And again, that's, to me now, I'm realizing the process of writing. I was like, how do people write? You have a blank page. What the hell are you going to put there? I was like, I used to find it such a block because I was trying to put something there from here rather than coming to
allowing it to come, allowing
exactly.
it to come to you. And that you just touch another very interesting topic, which is altered states of consciousness. And what fascinates me in lucid dreaming and astral projection is that you reach the altered state of consciousness naturally, just with breath work and with that inviting what wants to happen and allowing that to manifest. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I consider Philip Shepherd a friend. I've interviewed him multiple times. I invited him to Lisbon, actually. So in terms of a foreign import, I brought him from Canada, invited him from Canada to fly to Lisbon and run a workshop on radical wholeness there in near Avenida de Liberdade in the center of Lisbon. That was amazing. And he laughs and says, if you're trying to have an out of body experience, have you yet had an in-bodied experience? So
Yes.
I agree. We need to, and that's why I brought up that term mapping. If we can map our energy body, so I support people to do that and map their physical body, then you have a grasp and a ground to return to. Whereas if you intellectually study something and through curiosity want to have out of body experiences, I think both, we need to support people to really embody and incarnate fully. I think many people drew to trauma or fear or over intellectual pressure to become smart and get grades and go to university and get a good job. Their childhood innocence of wonder and these altered states that children enter in sleeping and waking can somehow, for some people, be conditioned out. And there are ways to support bringing that back. We all have that capability. So it seems superhuman, but we're all capable of doing it, and we have the anatomy to do so. Hopefully we have the healthy faculties to discern and move towards, and the blessing that life takes us towards people that can support us with these things. So beautiful. Should we say something about what we're planning to do in Lisbon?
I was just thinking about it. So go ahead.
Okay, cool. Because it's a co-creation. So I wondered if you want to give people a taster of it. Well, we're going to go to Lisbon. Vanda's been in support of, from a distance, my In Love events. Lisbon in Love was the first of those. And sometimes those have been really magical. There hasn't been so many of them. I started them before COVID and then have done 3 or 4 after COVID. And our idea is to take the Positive Portugal podcast to the streets of Lisbon. Vanda and I are going to go. And we're going to celebrate and identify and feel into, we're going to stand there, me and Vanda, and feel people of all ages, of all different relationship types, but become antennas for the love. Aren't we, Vanda? And we're going to go up to people and ask if they would like to share something about their connection, what it is, share a hug or an embrace or a kiss. And I would love to create a photo book from that, of old people and young people, maybe a grandma and a daughter and a granddaughter or grandson, parents with their children, couples and friends that might be walking down the street, holding hands, laughing, to really celebrate the positive, loving connections of humanity in the city of Lisbon, and to create a photo record of that. This is a passion of ours that we're
We
planning
discovered that we also have that passion in common, to speak with strangers.
Yeah.
All important things.
Yeah. Definitely.
And to share with people.
Yeah, so that's one idea. We'll have many ideas, but that's a starting idea that we've had, which I'm really excited to do, because for me, that's the point of this podcast, is to reach, inspire, connect, and celebrate life here in Portugal. I've had so many blessings, met so many great people over the 12 years I've been here, you being one of them. And some of them, we're both Aries, so we can go crazy like rams on the streets
We
of
like
Lisbon.
adventures.
Yeah.
What makes people nervous? It's what we love.
Yeah. Exactly. So watch out, Lisbon, and be careful if you're thinking to display public signs of affection on the street. Vanda and I might catch you.
Now it's gonna boom. Everyone's gonna.
Yeah. Amazing. We won't tell you where we're going to be. We're going to be mobile. We're going to move around.
That's our intention, and we're gonna let what wants to happen.
Yeah, something else might happen, but that's what we intend to do.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And it's lovely. I was sharing with Julian a while ago that whenever we talk about it, a huge smile comes to us. So it's gonna be a lot of fun, and that's the main thing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and that was the intention of these events, the In Love events, was to support people with a clarity of container of safety, arriving in the body rather than just arriving in their mind for an event. The idea was conscious connection, friend making, and slow dating. Conscious relating, friend making, and slow dating, because it rhymed. So when
And
people are
you are touching another great benefit of lucid dreaming and of sharing dreams, because in dreams there are no filters. So the connection, from my experience, it's really much easier to people talking about deeper things with the help of dreams.
definitely.
That's also another reason why I love this area.
That's why I love it too, and that's why that's why body perm works so well, because there's no filters. When you get into that state, which we both know very well and love, there's no filters. Exactly. And I love that in photography. I try to put as little editing into any of my work. So love without filters, life without filters on the streets of Lisbon. When people are in that state of celebrating hugs or a kiss on the father's cheek or whatever is the expression of love, the moving expression of love, holding hands, walking down the street, whatever's going on, I believe there's no filters. It's a true expression of humanity, arising and
love
shared.
the title, Moving Expression of Love. I registered it.
Okay.
Moving Expression of Love. It's beautiful.
Which has a double meaning, like moving, it's moving to see, and
Yeah.
it's love in motion. Yeah.
Expression of love. It's beautiful.
Beautiful. That can be our book.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
let's see.
So the podcast is very new. I really want to thank Vanda for joining us today and for being one of the first. You pioneer, Vanda. And
Aries.
and already I've met another Aries in trouble. We're going out. We're going to take the podcast out of my house and actually to Lisbon and to meet other people straight away. So fantastic. And if you're inspired to plant some trees, not tomorrow, it's getting carried away.
Saturday. The 27th.
27th of January.
9:30.
9:30 in the morning. So you might need to set off now if you're far away. But it's in 2 days, 27th Saturday, 9:30 in the morning in Busaku near Luso. Oh, I live near Lausanne, and that's Luso.
Luso. It's
different. So it'll be an hour from me. I have to set off at 8:30, Vanda, to get there.
Okay, it's good. There is a delicious story that I read on National Geographic. People from there, they say it's not true, but I'm going to tell it anyway. Some people say that Busaku, the meaning is Boscum Sacrum, the sacred woods. For me, it's even a bigger honor to plant trees there. And I shared with you, it was a huge synchronicity, because with intuitive power, we planted trees in Sintra. And last year, I went to the spring, to Termas do Luso, for resting. And then they are planting trees there. It was amazing. Life is amazing.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Yeah. What an honor. I would never think something like that. The universe thinks of things in a way much better than our original ideas.
That Busako, I was looking, as I said this morning, on Google Images next to the point of that, which is now a beautiful hotel, the Palace. And I remember trying to find them last time and couldn't find them, but there's these amazing steps with all green, it's like green velvet draped stone steps down through the forest. This green just creeping over rocks in such a lush way, which you have in Sintra also. But yeah, I'm gonna try and bring my son along with me. Try and haven't told him yet. But it might just be me. Yeah.
And Jean, your wife, she doesn't want to come?
She's got something Saturday, but she said go, tell me to go. So
because it's not the number of trees. It can be just one or two. It's
okay,
very good.
I'll try.
If she has plans, okay.
Yeah, I'll see. But thank you so much. There's so much more that sparked in me that we could continue talking, which is fun. And let's do that in another episode with, as I've said, I would like to invite Vanda back on some specific topics. Today served to introduce you to people that haven't met you yet, and your books and your projects. And there's more to be shared. So I'll be inviting you back, and I will see you on Saturday to plant some trees.
Really? It's wow, I'm so happy. See you on Saturday and perhaps Dylan.
Yeah,
Yes.
you know what daring and Aries happens with that.
Thank
Cool.
you.
Lots
Thank you
of
so
love
much.
to you. And yeah, I hope more and more people can see that life is beautiful. I was given last year a little plaque, Vide Bella.
Mhm.
It's in our toilet. So if life can be beautiful in the toilet, it can be beautiful everywhere.
Yeah, many people more and more they say that gratitude is really a
Yeah,
way, and forgiveness also. Gratitude and forgiveness,
yeah,
and to have responsibilities, to want to do something in the world. I
yeah.
would highlight these three things.
Great. That's great to add in closing. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Gratitude for sure. Because in gratitude is richness. You already realize how rich and lucky you are. Uh, yeah, therefore striving and wanting quietens and gives space for life to be beautiful. Thank you, Vanda. So good to talk to you. Let's see what's next. Streets of Lisbon, the trees of Bosaku, and the rest of 2024. Abraço grande.
Abraço grande a todos.